Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? I am pretty excited for this video because we're going to be talking about all the new indie makeup releases from the past 2 weeks and what I think about them, whether I'm going to buy them or not, and if I already bought them, which is the case for, I want to say, is it one or two things today? I think it's just one thing, but I think you're going to be surprised at what it is. So I love filming this. I love talking about indie makeup, and if you love hearing about indie makeup, this is the channel for you. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I am so happy to have you here. So this series is inspired by Angelica Nyqvist and Samantha March. I have both of their channels linked down below, as well as the Instagram accounts that I use for this video. There's a discount code for indie brands, like an entire list, not just mine. There's just like all kinds of codes for all kinds of brands, all in alphabetical order, to save you guys money if you're looking for some codes and a good resource. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and jump on in and talk about some new makeup. Also, if you're interested in the look that I'm wearing right now, this is with the Drench Cosmetics pastel collection. I did film it, so it should be probably going up sometime this week on my channel. So let's see. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is a new collaboration that is available now, and it's an eyeshadow bundle from Copacetic Cosmetics, and it was curated by Lizdaggerbeauty, which is super exciting. Congrats to Liz, and it's available now for $40. Gosh, I don't see the name here, but I think it was like a Jasper something, like it was like inspired by a rock kind of bundle, and the colors in here are super, super pretty. It kind of gives me like subculture vibes, just like the really beautiful grungy shades kind of mixed with like the pops of warm tones. I thought it was really pretty, but I decided to pass on it just because, for one, I've been more into buying palettes than single shadows lately, and I already went ahead and purchased a palette from Copacetic Cosmetics not too long ago. I was able to get their companion palette on one of the restocks, and I got it on pre-order, so I'm waiting for that. So I try not to make multiple orders from one brand before I get what I've already ordered, and I just decided to pass. But I do think that overall it's a really cute little curated bundle. And then the next release that we have is something new from Drench Cosmetics, which I really do want to try more from them. I've only tried a liner, which I really liked, and this is their new Jupiter Jungle palette. I have to say that on first seeing it, I was a little bit disappointed just because this isn't really like what I go for as much, like just the, I don't know, the tones. I don't know, maybe it's this picture. I'd be curious to see it in different lighting, but when I saw it at first, I was just like, oh yeah, like it's kind of cute, but it's not really me. But at the same time, I kind of had like a different type of appreciation for this palette because the last palette they released as well was more of a neutral palette with like a little bit of fun pops of color, and it seems like this is kind of the same thing. It looks like there's like a little bit of green, a little bit of orange, and I feel like it's fun and it's kind of unique for them to be a small indie brand that's just doing like more, I mean, I'm going to say all neutral palettes. There's only been two so far, two palettes, but kind of sticking more to neutral because I feel like a lot of indie brands are more like exploring all these different crazy color stories, and I feel like there's a lot of neutral lovers out there as well who'd want to try indie makeup, so I think that there's a place for it. Of course, the palette color story doesn't pull at my heartstrings, but I thought I'd go ahead and mention it. And then next we have a new release from Vesca Beauty, and this was like a gigantic pass for me. They came out with Moonlight cream shadows, and just in general, I'm not really like a cream shadow kind of girl. I'm very happy with my pressed powder shadows, but they only came out with 4 shades, and I just feel like $28 for one cream shadow. Like I can't, unless you're using that cream shadow every single day, I can't justify it. So that's going to be a pass for me. There's no room for it in my life. And then next we have a new palette from Glam Light, which actually I do have. They sent it to me in PR, but I haven't talked about it yet, so let me go ahead and grab it. Okay, so here is what it looks like. It came in the cutest little packaging. Like, it's so realistic. It really makes me wish I had an actual burger. But here is the inside. So I really like the packaging on this, actually. It's kind of like foam and squishy, and I don't know, I think it's kind of fun. I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first, but here is the inside. I think that the shimmers look very pretty, and I do plan on trying this. I like that it's $22. Again, a little bit more affordable. You can use a code to save money off, whatever. And like this shade Avocado does not look like an avocado at all, but it does look like one of the prettiest blue sparkly shimmers I've ever seen. So I plan on doing a video with this soon, but I will say that if I hadn't received it in PR, this is one of those products I would not have bought myself. The color story just doesn't super do it for me. Like the shimmers look pretty, but I mean, I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me that much as a color story overall. I feel like the neutrals with a pop of blue, we've been there, done that, and I don't really feel like this color story really makes me think of burgers all that much either, but I do think it's really cute. I love the packaging. I feel like this would be a really fun gift. Like, I feel like that about a lot of Glam Light palettes. They would just be really good gifts. So I just wanted to go ahead and show that to y'all since I did have it on hand and I haven't mentioned it yet. And then the next release that we have to talk about is from Kristen Lee Cosmetics, and this isn't a new release, but it is a repackaging. So Kristen Lee has glimmer gels, and they are absolutely beautiful. I think there's like, oh gosh, I want to say maybe like 7 really beautiful iridescent shades and maybe 6 more like true colorful duochromes that are like different golds and coppers, and they're just really stunning on the eyes. I feel like they take a little bit of like a learning curve to get used to, but they have amazing texture, and when they dry down, they dry down. They don't go anywhere. They stick really well. They last all day, even on the inner corner. Like, I really enjoy them. I own every single shade because I bought one and the brand ended up sending them all to me in PR. So I've done an entire full video where I don't think I did eye swatches, but I did arm swatches, and I did just like a full application and all my tips and talked about all the colors and everything like that. So I can link that down below for you in case you're interested. But the one thing with this product is I did hear a few people complaining, I don't even know if complaining is the right word, because it was completely justified, that their product was drying up early and it was drying up faster than what the brand said it would. So they decided to go ahead and repackage, and they're now in these tubes, which I feel like is probably a little bit more convenient to use as far as application goes, and just like squeeze out a little bit, keep going. And the tubes, I believe, also have 3 times or 2 times the amount of product that the jars did, and they're still the same exact price. I would think it's probably because a little like plasticky tube would cost less than a glass jar, if I had to guess. But I really, really love these. I'm glad that they're going to be in a packaging that's better suited to their formula, and I do personally recommend them. I think they are really pretty on the eyes, but like I said, I definitely recommend checking out the full video that I did, which I'll put in the cards here. So next we have a new release that I was so excited about, and I definitely 110% would have purchased these myself if I didn't receive them in PR. So Lethal Cosmetics, I've talked about so many of their products and I've bought all of them myself. I just really love them as a brand. They're from Germany and they just make really high quality, vegan, fun makeup. And they recently reached out to me and asked me if they could send me PR, or like if I could be included in their PR list or whatever, something along those lines. And I felt so grateful because I truly, genuinely love their products. I don't think I've tried their liquid lipstick, but I have so many of their eyeshadows, their lipsticks, and their face products. Their highlighters are my favorite. I have one of them right here in front of me. I'm actually wearing it today. This wasn't planned or anything, but you can see, I don't know if you can tell, I use this all the time. I just really, really love the formula of those. So when they sent the pictures of these and asked me to pick out what I wanted to try, I was so excited to see the pre-made palettes because the highlighters that are in there are like exclusive. They're not sold individually. They're not highlighters that already exist. So I feel like I'm on such a tangent, but they came out with the 4 pre-made palettes, and I specifically asked to be sent the shade Vernal and the shade Boreal because of the highlighters in there. If I'm being honest, I'm so excited about those, especially the pink highlighter in Boreal. Like, it just looks absolutely beautiful. I love their highlighter formula. I feel like it feels powdery when you touch it, but on the skin, it just looks so smooth, and it's just like the perfect glow from within. So I am so excited about those. And then of course the blushes look really pretty as well. And then there's bronzers. And I also really like the shade range that they had included in their initial pre-made palettes. I feel like there is something for everyone. And then they also went ahead and released, I believe, there's 8 different blushes here. And oh no, I can't count. There's 10 different blushes here. And they all look really beautiful. I personally didn't ask to be sent any of these just because there's already 2 blushes in the pre-made palettes to try out, so I can get a feel for the formula, and then if I love them I can go ahead and purchase some of these myself. But I also have the Menagerie Arthurine blush palette, which I feel like has some similar tones to these, and I've been really loving it, and I just didn't feel like I needed excess. Like, I just wanted enough to try and give my thoughts on, and then like I said, in the future, like I think the orange, I think the peach are really pretty. And then lastly, they also came out with 8 different bronzers, and of these I asked to be sent quartz because it has like a really pretty gray kind of cool tone. I've honestly been more into contouring lately. I feel like I went through a phase in like 2015, 2016 where I contoured every single day. Contouring was the most important part of my makeup routine. And then I just stopped doing it for a while, and recently I've been getting more into it. I haven't contoured today though. But I was definitely interested in trying that one of all these tones here. So I'm really excited about this release, and I think what's really cool is that all of the products are available to be put into your own palettes. You can do like a pre-made palette and choose the shade yourself in their palette builder, which I think is really, really amazing. You could do all bronzers or all blushes or do all highlighters, or, you know, you can completely switch it up. So I'm really, really excited about that. And just from everything I've tried so far from Lethal, I have a feeling that it's going to be super high quality. I don't know if mine have arrived yet or not because I haven't checked my P.O. box, but yes. So next we have a new highlighter from Kaleidos, and I'm super excited about this because it looks like a really stunning multi-chrome highlighter. It looks like there's shifts of orange and yellow and green, and it just looks really, really pretty on the skin. I was super intrigued about this because, oh, did I tell you? I think it's called the Prophesy highlight, if I'm correct, but I have a multi-chrome highlighter that I purchased from Kristen Lee Cosmetics called Birthday Bash, and I'm really curious to see how they compare. It might even be fun to do like a battle the multi-chrome highlighter video or something like that. So I do receive PR from Kaleidos, and this is on its way to me, so I will have a video up using it eventually. If I wasn't being sent an SPR, I don't think I would purchase it just because I already have that multi-chrome highlighter specifically. And also, if you are feeling tempted to purchase this, but you're like not wanting to spend the money and you have other light multi-chromes, any iridescent multi-chromes, honestly, especially from like the Cliona iridescent multi-chromes or the Terra Moon's iridescent chameleons, you can use those on the cheeks as well and get a very similar look, and you can completely customize it with whatever shadow and in the blush and have like that rainbow-esque cheek. I actually did something recently, it's in a video that hasn't gone live yet, and it literally looked like a rainbow on my cheek, and I just used, I think, a pink blush and then a shadow from Cliona, and I feel like it would give like a very similar effect to what is happening here. So I feel like you could get the same look if you already have light multi-chromes. You don't have to have them specifically marketed to the face. So yes, but I'm still excited to try it and give it a shot. And I think that they also reformulated one of their other highlighters as well, if I remember correctly. And then next we have a new palette from Sample Beauty, and this is the Equalizer palette volume 2, and this is super pretty to me. I really, really like it. There's berries and neutrals, and like the entire right side just looks like really stunning, super intense metallics. I was actually talking to a friend and she said that they're having BOGO and it's like free shipping over $40 or whatever. But I'm gonna pass on it because I don't need it, and I already purchased an eyeshadow palette that I'm gonna talk about in just a minute, so it's gonna be a pass for now. And then let's see, other indie releases. We have a new palette from Juvia's Place. This is the Wahala 2 palette. I don't have much to say other than I just hate it. I hate it altogether. I hate the packaging. I don't like the colors. I don't like the pressed glitters. Like, that's just a gigantic pass. And I don't like that Juvia's Place is being so inconsistent in like their palettes and like their packaging and their branding. And I don't know. I feel like Juvia's Place is a brand that I've like recently kind of just over time, but mostly recently, fallen out of love with. I used to be such a stan. And then next, as far as indie releases go, we also have a new palette from a brand called Unicorn Cosmetics. I think I might be familiar with them from brush sets that they used to sell, but I've never tried anything from them. I haven't heard that much, but I got tagged in this palette specifically, and I just wanted to go ahead and talk about it for a second. It's their Wicked palette, and it says makes me pretty. I feel like maybe if this palette was like packaged normally, I would be more into it. Like the eyeshadow looks that they're showing are really pretty, but the packaging like literally just gives me a headache. I just don't like it. Like I can't even look at it and like see the color story. All I see is like the empty space, the weird squares and rectangles, and I don't like it. Like there might be a purpose to it, but I don't like it. It's not for me. Ooh, there's a new release from Melt Cosmetics, and I'm not interested in this at all, honestly. It's a, like, not collaboration, but like a Beetlejuice inspired collection. And Beetlejuice, I've watched it. It's fine. It's not a bad movie, but I'm just not a stan. I'm not like someone who would buy a product specifically because it's Beetlejuice, but it also wouldn't stop me from buying it either. But the palettes, I don't know, there's like one that's like purple and green, but it doesn't really seem like there's like a ton of variety in depth. And then the other one is like cool tone, but the packaging on that one just kind of throws off the color story. Like I almost wonder if it was just like solid red or solid black, if the color story would stand out a little bit more, because I have been more into cool tones. I don't know. If I had to get one, I think it would still be the purple and green, just because I love purples and greens, but I just don't feel any urge to buy these. So again, that's going to be a pass. We have a new palette from Halbert Cosmetics, and this is, oh gosh, it doesn't say the name on the screenshot that I took, but I think it's their Roaring 20s palette, something 20s. And I don't like it at all. Again, I feel like I'm being super picky this week, but I personally really liked the way that Linda Halberg has done her palettes already in the past. They've all been like rectangle palettes with 8 circles. I was about to say 8 square circles. 8 circles, and they've been marketed as being eyeshadows, highlighters, blushes, contours, bronzers, like everything you need, and just like completely making it super multi-use, which I really love. Like I have one palette from them. I think it's the Spectral palette, and it's not my absolute favorite eyeshadow formula ever, but I love that I can use all the different shades on the cheeks and do blush and do this and that, and I just feel like it makes it more worth it, especially because her palettes are a little bit more of like a high-end price tag. So seeing this, I just kind of felt like wah, because I don't really love the packaging. To me, it honestly looks like a palette that you could buy from NYX for $20, and I think it's like $60 or $65 if I'm not crazy. I feel like I saw that on Beauty Bay the other day, and I feel like a lot of these colors, they could have been put into one of the palettes that she's already been doing, even if she made it a little bit bigger, and they could have been used for highlights and bronzers and face powders or contours. Like I feel like this could have been a really fun multi-use palette while also being like a staple neutral palette. So I don't know. I think the packaging on the front cover is really pretty. I saw it and it caught my attention, but I just wouldn't spend the money on this palette personally. And then we have one last indie release that I wanted to talk about before we jump into just a few mainstreams. The palette that I did end up buying. This is the new Nabla Cosmetics Side to Side collection, I believe is what it's called. It makes me think of the Ariana Grande song. It's definitely a different take on nudes. But I don't know, this palette I just thought looked so pretty. I really liked the tones. I've been suddenly super into neutrals recently, and I know I'm wearing like a super bright look right now, but I've just been loving nudes. I don't know, there's just been a change. I go back and forth because some days I'm like, I just want to go bright blue, and then other days I'm just want to go super soft. And I've only tried little palettes from Nabla so far, but this one caught my attention, so I went ahead and picked it up from Beauty Bay. It's already on there. In fact, their whole new collection is on there if you're interested in checking it out. And also, I feel like I just had to like give them like a little like extra respect, because they released this entire collection and the eyeshadow palette is just all eyeshadows, and then the pressed glitters are in a little quad to the side. I appreciate that so much. I love that the glitters are not in the palette. Like, thank you so much, Nabla. They also came out with some lip liners as well, which look like really pretty nude shades, but I decided to go ahead and pass on those just because I've already got a bunch of lip liners that I love, and it was fun. I just really, what I was going for was the palette. So now jumping into mainstream releases, I normally try to keep it down to just like 3, but I have a few things to talk about. The first is the new Huda Beauty Naughty palette. I feel like this one was so funny to me because I saw a picture of it. I think it was similar to this picture, and people were like going crazy about the little like infected looking eyeshadow, and I was like, it's not even that bad. And then I saw this picture I'm going to throw on now, and I was like, oof, that is really, really bad. So I don't know. I feel like it's all kind of just like a distraction, like from the color story, from the palette. It's like, ooh, we put in this funny looking shade and swirls. Now you should buy our $65 palette. And then we have 2 new palettes from Colourpop I wanted to mention, and I actually really, really want both of these. I haven't bought from Colourpop in a really long time, but the one that really, really caught my attention is their new, gosh, I don't even know what it's called now. I think it's called the Child Palette, and it's a Baby Yoda inspired palette. I just really liked it because, for one, Baby Yoda, super cute. I'm basic. I watched The Mandalorian and I liked it. I really like them. But I also really, really love the color story of this palette. I love the pops of green, and they're just like such pretty tones. I love like a little bit of neutral that's thrown in there. I love that there's like a super, super deep, rich brown. And I love that none of the shadows in here are pressed glitters, which they've been doing for so many of their little 9-pan palettes. So this one was definitely tempting. I thought about purchasing it, but I decided to go ahead and pass with a lot of willpower. I've got tons of green eyeshadows already, as much as I love the packaging. Like, I wish if someone could just come out with a empty magnetic palette that's got Baby Yoda on it, I'll buy that instead. And then we also have the Stone Cold Fox Mega 30 Pan Eyeshadow Palette. And I see so many people are like, who would want this? Who would want this? And I feel like even me like 3 months ago would have been like, who would want this? But I want this. It looks so nice. Like, I've been super into cool tones recently. I've been using this Iridescent During Love palette nearly every day and just doing like the same gray look over and over and loving it. And I just feel like this palette is like every cool tone neutral eyeshadow you could possibly need in one palette, and I don't know, there's just something about it. I also really love that it flows really well from like light to deep. I really enjoy that in a palette rather than like shades just being thrown sporadically around. I feel like if this was sporadic, I wouldn't want it as much, but I definitely think it looks really, really nice. Ooh, it says they're having 25% off site-wide as well, which includes these new launches. Oh man. And then we have the last product I wanted to mention, which I'm actually really interested in as well. Tarte came out with a new version of their Shape Tape Concealer, and this is their Ultra Creamy Concealer. It basically just says that it has like all the same claims as Tarte Shape Tape, but it has an eye cream, and it's supposed to have like extra benefits for moisture and everything underneath the eyes. So I'm really interested in this because I just love Tarte Shape Tape so much. I use it nearly every day. I've been testing out the Nabla concealer, which I've heard compared to the Tarte Shape Tape, and I would say it's similar, but I like Tarte Shape Tape a little bit more. And basically, I recently opened up my 2 backups of Tarte Shape Tape. How many times can I say Tarte Shape Tape in this video? So I'm not anywhere close to needing a new one, but I think that when I do finish those up eventually, which I'm sure that I will, because those are like, gosh, I want to say like my 4th and 5th Tarte Shape Tape. I bought so many of them and used so many. I can see myself going ahead and repurchasing this new formula instead, if I hear overall pretty good reviews about it, just because it sounds right up my alley. And I feel like it doesn't even sound like it's going to be all that different. It just sounds like it's going to be just a little bit better for your under eye skin. So I'm about it. I want to purchase it when I have a need. Not yet though. So that's pretty much everything for today's video. I feel really good because normally when I film this video, I'm like stumbling and starting and stopping so much, and I kind of just kept going. I feel a little bit like I was talking super fast, so I'm sorry about that if that's not your cup of tea. If you don't know already, YouTube does have an option where you can change the speed of any video. You can make it slower or you can make it way faster. I personally love listening to people talk in 2 times speed because then I can watch a lot of videos in a shorter amount of time. That was a tangent. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you are doing well, staying healthy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.